Any on the team to make one?
Good morning. Professor Dale Weber, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Mona campus. The Honorable Fable Williams, Minister of Education and Youth. Dr. Shireen James Williamson, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology at the UWI Mona campus. Dr. Gunjan Mansingh, Head of Department of Computing at the UWI Mona campus. Professor Jelani Nelson, Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science at the University of California, Berkeley, and Addis Coda. Mr. Jamar McNaughton, better known as Chronixx. Mr. Jermaine Henry, CEO of Norris Technologies. Ms. Subira McNamara, St. Andrew High School for Girls. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of JamCoders, a coding and algorithms camp for Jamaican high school students in 3rd through 5th forms, or if you prefer, grades 9 through 11. Now, words like coding and algorithms have now entered day-to-day speech, but let's talk a little bit about what these terms mean. So when we talk about computers, coding is most commonly used as a synonym for the activity of writing a computer program, that is getting the computer to do something useful for us. An algorithm, on the other hand, is a finite sequence of steps for solving a computational problem. Now, in the Department of Computing at the UWI Mona, our goal is to take students who have no computational experience and then teach them how to write computer programs during their first year. In the second year, we teach them several classical algorithms and how to analyze these algorithms so that they can argue that one approach is better than another. Now, over the last few years at the UWI Mona, we've had a number of our top computing graduates hired by Fortune 500 companies such as Google, Apple, and Goldman Sachs, as well as leading Jamaican financial institutions and businesses in other spaces in Jamaica. As I look back at the profile of these top students hired by the Fortune 500 companies, for example, one thing that stands out for them is that they were strong in their problem-solving skills and their use of algorithms. Now, previous computing experience or knowledge of algorithms are not prerequisites for being selected for JamCoders. Rather, we're interested in intellectually curious students as demonstrated by their high school performance. Over the course of the JamCoders camp, we introduced them first to coding and then later to algorithms for some classes of problems. It should be an interesting ride. Now, these students, even though they're in high school, will receive content that our UWI students receive in the second year. And JamCoders will provide free dormitory rooms subject to UWI policy and meals for all participants. Now, we welcomed applications from all over Jamaica, And this program is being organized by the Department of Computing, the Faculty of Science and Technology at the UWI-MONA, members of the Caribbean diaspora working at Google and UC Berkeley, and the reggae artist Chronixx through his core foundation. The idea to start JamCoders was initially conceived by Jamar McNaughton, of Chronixx, and the Chronixx team after they read about the Addis Coder program in Ethiopia. Chronixx then made a generous founding donation rather, to support the creation of the program. So we thank Chronixx for his vision and generosity. We'd also like to acknowledge support from the Survival and Flourishing Fund, founded by Jan Callen, who was helped found Skype, with JamCoders selected for funding by Professor Scott Aronson on behalf of the Survival and Flourishing Fund. And then the D.E. Shaw Group, which is a hedge fund, also put in money. So now that we know what JamCoders is intended to do, let us have a preview of our program this morning. First, we're going to have some remarks by Professor Dale Weber, then from Dr. Shireen James Williamson, and then some recorded remarks from the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education and Youth, then Professor Jelani Nelson of UC Berkeley, and also the head of Addis Coder, and then the reggae artist, Jamar McNaughton. And then we're going to have some remarks, our keynote address. So at this point, I welcome Professor Weber.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fulcrum, and good morning all. Minister of Education and Youth, Honorable Favour Williams, Acting Dean, Dr. Shireen James Williamson, Head of Department of Computing, Dr. Gunjan Mansingh, Professor of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science at UC Berkeley, and founder of Addis Coder, Prof. Jelani Nelson, reggae artist Jamar McNaughton, known as Chronixx to us, Jermaine Henry from Norris Tech, colleagues all, good morning. I'm pleased to bring greetings in my capacity as Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of the West Indies MoNA campus at the launch of this wonderful opportunity, JamCoders Summer Camp, scheduled to commence in July 2022 here at the MoNA campus. We at the UWI MoNA campus are pleased to host this interesting and exciting innovation to introduce high schoolers to programming and algorithms. Our strategic plan, which is a triple A for access, alignment, and agility, recognizes that this camp is going to achieve all three, in that it's going to provide access to students who would never normally have that access. It aligns with the development goals of the country and the region, and it's extremely agile, as just listening to the introduction provided by Daniel, coding is always moving, and you have to be agile to stay on top. The JamCoders Summer Program will expose our Jamaican high school students not only to algorithms, but some problem solving, which is essential. In fact, we at the UWI have been trying to tell students, less content, more thinking. That's what you need. The program will strengthen their foundation in coding skills, which will begin their pathway to a computing degree. I was surprised to hear Daniel mention that they actually will be exposed to some of what we teach in our second year program. So they're getting a real head start, and this is brilliant. This enables them to take on jobs of the future, engage with the technology in a meaningful way. It'll also contribute tremendously to boosting our youngsters to become more competent, more confident, and more prepared for the fourth industrial revolution, which is evolving at an exponential rather than linear pace. I would therefore like to thank the team in the Department of Computing, headed by Dr. Mansingh, the Faculty of Science and Technology in collaboration with Addis Coder, Chronixx for having the vision, not just in the music, but to see what we want to do here, and through his foundation making it possible. The Survival and Flourishing Fund, the D.E. Shaw Group, and members of the Caribbean diaspora for bringing JamCoders to Jamaica. I know this is the beginning, and I look forward to many other opportunities such as this. I would also like to thank the many instructors and teaching assistants who will be engaging throughout the program session, since their service is going to be the connection that makes the difference. It's greatly appreciated. We strongly encourage all student participants to experience this eureka moment. Take advantage of it. Feel the joy and the accomplishment that comes with coding. You are on the cusp of a new revolution. Students, this is your time to learn. Be actively engaged. Be creative. Use this opportunity to shape a future, a new future for successful growth. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the days and the camp's activities.
Thank you, Principal. And at this point, we'll have remarks from Dr. Shireen James Williamson.
Thank you, Dr. Folcom. Professor Dale Weber, Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus. The Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education and Youth. Dr. Gunjan Mansingh, Head of Department of Computing at the UWI Mona. Professor Jelani Nelson, Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science at the University of California, Berkeley, and Addis Coda. Mr. Jamar McNaughton, aka Chronixx. Mr. Jermaine Henry, CEO of Norus Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls online, good morning and welcome. Coding and software development are parts of STEM education. When students engage in coding, they are engaging fully in STEM education and STEM activities. Information technology and coding are everywhere in our society now, and it offers our students many possibilities for exciting, interesting, and relevant lessons. Coding by itself is an exploration of scientific method. It takes you through a process, and so the students will participate in JamCoders program this summer. They will be engaged, they will be able to learn a lot more about science, a lot more about themselves, and a lot more about process and processes. It seems like a career day on steroids, if you want to think about it like that, because of the wealth of knowledge that they will gain from this experience. The Faculty of Science and Technology is pleased to be partnering with Professor Nelson and his team of instructors for JamCoders Summer Camp. The Department of Computing is has fully immersed itself, and by extension, of course, the Faculty of Science and Technology, in training and development of our youth and young people who may one day enroll in the University of the West Indies in our programs here. This summer, these 3rd, 4th, and 5th formers will not only be engaged in lessons related to algorithms and program development, but they will get an experience of a university, a space where a lot of young minds are developed. A university with a setting where they will live in a hall, they will socialize, they will fellowship, and they will participate in activities that some of us only got to participate in when we became students at the University of the West Indies ourselves. And so it provides them with a unique opportunity to gain from this experience. It is invaluable, the experience that is, and they will probably remember this experience for the rest of their lives. I want to challenge the participants to soak up, to absorb all the information, all the lessons, and all the skills of all the processes within which they will be engaged. And in so doing, leave with a fuller and more rich experience of not only computer science, but also an experience of themselves and each other, and the interaction that would one day come to bear on their own career selection and their own interaction with their own public. To the sponsors, particularly Chronixx, and to the organizers and the persons who will be doing the teaching, engage the young ones, be their mentors for them, and be mentors for them and aid them in becoming the people they are meant to be. In closing, the University of the West Indies being the top institution in the region and in the top 1% of universities in the world, we are ecstatic to be hosting this phenomenal program, and we look forward to documenting its scholarship and its rewards for future participants and, of course, for future development of this and similar programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. James Williamson. At this point, in the program, we're going to have some recorded remarks from the Honorable Favour Williams, the Minister of Education and Youth.
Professor Dale Weber, Principal and Pro Vice Chancellor, UWI-Mona, Dr. Shireen James Williamson, Acting Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, Dr. Gunjan Mansingh, Head, Department of Computing, Professor Jelani Nelson, Professor of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, UC Berkeley, USA, and founder Addis Coda in Ethiopia. Dr. Danielle Fulcom, Senior Lecturer, Department of Computing, Faculty of Science and Technology, UWI-Mona, Mr. Jermaine Henry, CEO, Director, Norris Technologies, Mr. Jamar Chronixx McNaughton, JamCoders all, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am extremely delighted to share in today's launch of the JamCoders Summer Camp. The Ministry of Education and Youth welcomes this collaborative program organized by the Department of Computing, the Faculty of Science and Technology at the UWI-Mona, members of the Caribbean diaspora working at Google and UC Berkeley, and Chronixx through your foundation. This is a great initiative and a wonderful opportunity for our high school students between grades 9 and 11 who have and are developing an interest in algorithms and computer programming. You know that with the rapid developments in technology changing the way we live, work, and play, we have a responsibility to prepare our students for our increasingly interconnected and tech-driven world. To this end, the Ministry's National Standards Curriculum, which was implemented fully in 2018, is predicated on STEM as the foundational base. The objectives emphasize experiential methodologies and the exploration of the 4 C's: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, which are aimed at improving students' multiple intelligences and interests in an enabling and supportive environment, enforcing the value of discovery learning. To help our students adapt to these changes, we must continue to refresh our curriculum to ensure that the knowledge, skills, and values taught remain current and relevant. With the evolving changes in education and the needs of students, it is important to build on existing efforts to help them to be agile and ready for contemporary and emerging jobs, regardless of their backgrounds and starting points in life. Highest commendations to Mr. Jamar McNaughton, Chronixx, and the Chronixx team, the Survival and Flourishing Fund, Professor Scott Aronson on behalf of the SFF and the D.E. Shaw Group, the Faculty of Science and Technology, and the participants from overseas agencies and universities. This is a great investment in the academic development of our young people, and I know our students will find this an exciting program. I expect that there will be an excess of applications that can be readily accommodated at the onset, and we hope that in time this program can be expanded and extended to reach more students. Every good wish for a successful program. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for the remarks. And at this point, I will invite Professor Jelani Nelson for his own remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Fulcom. Good day, everybody. I'm very excited to be here talking to you today at this launch event. We all know how important a role computer science plays in today's world. CS is not only important in writing software, but today plays a central role in the basic sciences, the arts, and other human endeavors. The Nobel Prize citation in chemistry in 2013 stated, "Today, the computer is just as important a tool for chemists as the test tube." And Richard Dawkins, a famous biologist and emeritus professor at Oxford, stated even more boldly, "Biology nowadays is a branch of computer science." Meanwhile, in the arts, computer algorithms have been developed to find ways of creating shapes via origami folding, and generative adversarial networks for machine learning can be used to generate new original musical samples. Also, the new DALL-E program by OpenAI can produce high-quality artistic renderings of scenes described by short natural language phrases. Despite the widespread understanding of the importance of computer science, opportunities for exposure in this field for youth are not distributed equitably. Just last year in 2021, 49%, almost half of high schools in the USA where I live, did not offer any computer science course. In my now home state of California, the home of Silicon Valley, Apple, Facebook, Google, etc., just 8 years ago, 76% of high schools in California did not offer a computer science course. Recruiting enough qualified teachers who have mastered the material is tough when top tech companies are nowadays paying 21-year-old software engineers the equivalent of 2.5 million Jamaican dollars per month immediately after graduating university. The distribution of instruction opportunities, educational opportunities for more advanced levels of computer science is even more imbalanced. Those listening today may not be aware that just as we have Olympic events in sports, athletic sports, there's also an international programming Olympics every summer. Each country can select a team of up to 4 high school students to represent them at a 2-day programming competition called the International Olympiad for Informatics, or the IOI. In the USA, team selection is done by a sequence of online contests followed by in-person contests for the 25 student finalists each year. 2 years ago, I was invited to give a guest lecture to the American finalists that summer, and I noticed something strange. When I looked at the roster of all finalists over the previous decade, that's 250 students, right? 25 times 10, there were 142 unique students because some did it in multiple years. Of those 142 students, they represented 26 different states out of 50 states in the USA. In other words, 24 states, or almost half, had no representatives as finalists in a decade. California, meanwhile, had 60 finalists out of the 142, whereas the state of New York only had 2 finalists. California's population is only twice that of New York's, not 30 times larger. Of the 60 Californians, 57 lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, the vast majority in a 15-kilometer radius. Of course, it is not the case that the only capable kids in America live in the same few towns right next to each other. Rather, it is that even in the USA, there are not that many advanced high-quality training courses in the country aimed at youth, and one of them happened to be in that area, which was overrepresented. So now what you see, to me, what this camp JamCoders is all about in my mind, it's about delivering a high-quality advanced computer science educational experience to Jamaican youth. And as a West Indian man myself, I'm from the Virgin Islands. I hope that one day in the future, we'll also be able to expand to include students from other islands. We recruit the highest quality instructors for our program. Of our 4 lecturers this summer, all 4 have PhDs and 3 are computer science faculty at universities such as Harvard, UC Berkeley, and the UE-MONA. Our 12 teaching assistants were recruited after a rigorous interviewing a subset of 56 applicants, and all 12 are excellent and highly knowledgeable. As mentioned, we are modeling this program after one I founded in 2011 in Ethiopia called JamCoders. That program has trained over 500 high school students so far, and several of our older alumni eventually went on to pursue or even complete PhDs in STEM fields, such as computer science, electrical and computer engineering, applied mathematics, pure mathematics, and mechanical engineering. Several others work in the tech industry. The vast majority of the alums live in Ethiopia now and contribute to the tech scene locally there. One alum who went to MIT for both his bachelor's and master's degrees now works for Google and has a higher salary than I do. And last year, he actually bought my house in Boston from me. And it feels good to know that my students are doing better than I am. And I look forward to the day, which I'm sure will be soon, when I can tell similar such stories of our JamCoders alumni. I'm very much looking forward to JamCoders 2022, which will start in approximately 5 weeks. We have been working on this program since December 2020, when Chronixx first approached me and said he wanted a version of JamCoders to be created in Jamaica, and that he would be willing to provide financial support to make that possible. I would like to repeat Dr. Folcom's thank you to him for his founding donation, and for also being involved in even some low-level details and lending his help, from finding a graphical designer for our logo and other website graphics needs, and making media such as the Smile Jamaica program aware to help spread word of the program. And I'd also like to thank our other donors mentioned by Dr. Fokum as well. I'd also like to acknowledge support from the UC Berkeley College of Engineering and the Harvard University Office of Career Services for supporting some teaching assistants. I would like to thank Dr. Tamika Benjamin from MOE and Ms. Camille Reed from the UE Mona for also helping to spread word of the program. I am very happy that this program has been a full collaboration between Addis Coder Incorporated, the UE Mona, and the Core Foundation. I thank my co-organizers, Rob Bacchus, Joel Beezer, Alicia Myers, Dr. Fokum, and Dr. Mansing. We also received a tremendous amount of support from Terry Ann Collins-Frey, Shauna Grant, and Rosaline Simmons. I would also like to acknowledge the UE Mona Office of Student Services and Development, and especially Mr. Jason McKenzie and Mr. Athol Hamilton for their support. I thank the 12 teaching assistant volunteers who are now in the midst of reviewing our 144 high school applications for this inaugural program to select 50 participants. It's been a lot of work. Lastly, this program could not exist without the high school students themselves, and I thank them for their interest and for applying, and also for their parents entrusting us with their children for this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nelson. At this point, I will invite Chronixx for his set of remarks. Mr. McNaughton.
Yeah, give thanks. It's a joy to be here at this virtual launch, which is like our start, our official start to something that we hope will have a very long-term and positive effect upon our youths here in Jamaica, as far as developing them for a significant role in global development, and also preparing them for the inevitable transformation of the landscape here in the Caribbean. I have to give thanks to Professor Jelani Nelson, who has been a blessing to a lot of youths. And we give thanks. I see everyone reading from a thing. I don't have a thing to read from. So for me, it's just a moment of gratitude, especially to the UE Mona team, Dr. Fulcom, Dr. Mansing, Elisha Myers, all, Terry and Collins, all the UE Mona people and all the Ministry of Education team. Give thanks to the Honorable Minister. And we give thanks for everyone who is on this call and everyone who has taken the responsibility to bring this level of development to the Jamaican landscape. And hopefully we can have this every single year. And as Professor Jelani says, a more inclusive program for the Caribbean at large, and for other students within the West Indies. So we give thanks to everyone who are here. And I'm definitely overjoyed, I would say, and filled with joy and with a sense of hope and also a sense of direction for where this will take us, and a revolution in technologies that can push our people forward, that is created by our people. And this is the beginning. So I give thanks for the genesis. Out of love.
Thank you very much, Mr. McNaughton, for your remarks. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Mr. Jermaine Henry. Jermaine Henry is an entrepreneur, an investor, and an ecosystem builder. He has over 8 years of experience in technology and entrepreneurship. And prior to founding Norris Technologies, where he's a CEO, He launched and ran various startups in Jamaica and the United States. He was also an entrepreneur in residence at the Chile-based venture capital firm, where he provided teams with business development and strategic consulting. Jermaine is currently the curator at Kingston Beta, a 15-year-old award-winning brand that organizes meetups, hackathons, and boot camps for the Jamaican technology industry. Jermaine truly believes that developing communities is the key to unlocking the potential of an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So at this point, I will turn over to Mr. Henry. Thank you for joining us.
All right, good morning, everyone. Excited to be here, just as excited as Jamar, Jelani, everybody else. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Jermaine Henry, 31 years old. I've been in tech for 8 years in various roles, never as a developer formally, just not that interested in coding, but a lover of technology and been working with developers for years. So I run Norus Technologies. So Norus is a 100% remote software development company based in Kingston, Jamaica, and Miami. We build software for startups and nonprofits all over the US. I have a team of 14 software developers, very talented, all Jamaican. We have team members in Kingston, St. Catherine, and St. Elizabeth, and we're looking to hire more people outside of Kingston. We have clients in Denver, Miami, San Francisco, Michigan, Boulder, New York, and Oakland, right? We run it, 100% remote. Everybody gets to work from home, gets to interact and get exposure to these companies all over the US and, hopefully all over the world as we expand. We also do investments and educational grants for students in Jamaica. So very much aligned with the mission of JamCoders. I'm running Kingston Beta. We just took it over this year. As was mentioned before, we host meetups, hackathons, and boot camps with the intention of creating connections and community, because we know that technology alone can't do it, right? Innovation comes from community and technology coming together, right? So that collaboration is super important. And I think that's a part of JamCoders that we definitely need to think about. My personal journey, so I was born in rural St. Elizabeth, grew up between St. Elizabeth and Mandeville, moved to Kingston in 2009 to attend school. But my journey in technology really began in 2012 when I attended a hackathon. I won this hackathon with just an idea that I had, used this idea to start my first company at 23 years old. That company, now dissolved, but was a great experience for me, exposing me to many different things. Through technology and the tech industry, I've been able to travel all over the world. I've been able to go to Kenya, China, Panama. I lived in Chile for a short time, and all over the Caribbean. As somebody who was born in rural St. Elizabeth, technology has given me a platform and a medium which I can use to touch the world, right? For the students about to embark on this journey through this JamCoders initiative, I think this is also their opportunity to touch the world from Jamaica, right? Technology I see as the great enabler and a great equalizer for persons all over the world to create an impact, right? Not only in their local communities, but also, globally. They're so lucky to have this exposure so early on in their life. I know this will be a life-changing experience for everyone. So everybody, please don't take this for granted. The demand right now for technology talent is so high all over the world. I've had the opportunity to meet Michael Seaman. Michael started working at Facebook when he was 17 years old, right? Just because he was talented and had, the opportunity to even interact with certain persons, right? There are so many technical and non-technical jobs in the technology field that are in demand right now. Everything from design to marketing to project management, product management, sales, and data analytics. In Jamaica, every company that you know that you can think of is hiring for technology roles right now, and Jamaicans are being hired at all the companies that you can think of. I have friends who work at LinkedIn, Google, Apple, WordPress, Amazon, Lyft, that were all educated in Jamaica, right? So for the students about to embark on this journey, don't put any limits on where you think you can end up, right? The world is your oyster. And as I said, technology is a great enabler, the tool that can have you reach to any heights that you want to reach, as long as you're putting in the work and taking advantage of the opportunities put in front of you. My advice to you is don't put any limits on what you can achieve. The world is changing and you're the future. Take advantage of the deep connections that you can make throughout this program, because the community that you build, the instructors that will be working with you, they have a wealth of knowledge that they're willing to give. So take it with all you can, and bring about the change that you want to see, because as I said, technology and community come together to create change and innovation. So thank you for the time, and I hope this journey is amazing for you all, and it does even more for you than it has done for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry, for your remarks. Now, before we move to the next speaker, I just want to say very briefly that as Dr. Nelson mentioned, we had over 140 applications for JamCoders for a total of about 50 places. And all of those applications are being reviewed and scored by at least 2 teaching assistants. Now, as a result of this review, the strong candidates have begun to emerge. And one of the strong candidates was Sabira McNamara, who's a 5th form student at St. Andrew High School for Girls. She got an early admission decision as a result of the strength of application. The rest of the decisions will be communicated once the scoring and ranking is complete. Now, Sabira is currently taking her CSEC exams, so she submitted a recording with her remarks. And so we now welcome Sabira McNamara.
Good day. I am Sabira McNamara from the St. Andrew High School for Girls, Kingston, Jamaica. I was attracted to the JamCoders 2022 program since I have an interest in information communication technology. More specifically, software engineering and coding. I found out about the program from a teacher of mine who posted the flyer in a Google Classroom. I was immediately drawn in due to my intrigue. After looking at the impressive achievements of the alumni from the JamCoders program, I thought it would be interesting and advantageous to be in a similar program. By participating, I hope to gain insight on computer programming, improve my problem-solving skills, and learn different computer science concepts. In the future, I plan to study either computer science or veterinary science. And so, this program will be beneficial to me by enabling me to apply computers to problem solving. I would also like to master Python programming, cure canine parvovirus, and maybe even become a vet in the metaverse. People will own pets and need vets to take care of their virtual animals. Thank you.
Sabira, for your comments. It turns out computers are very pervasive right now, and it's interesting what she wants to use with computer science, become a vet in the metaverse. At this point, I will turn over to Dr. Gunjan Mansingh, who's the head of the Department of Computing, for some closing remarks.
Good morning, everyone. all protocols observed, because I think at the end of the program, we know that everyone who's been present and has spoken. Sabira just highlighted that we are living in this fourth industrial revolution. And what that means is, as I think Minister had also pointed out, it's how we are working with technology in not just work, but we live and we interact with each other using technology. So hence, it's really critical that coding is becoming as important as literacy and numeracy that we've been teaching in schools for a long time. And if in Jamaica, we don't want to be left behind in this era, then we have to strengthen our human capital pillar, which is critical to really building this overall digital ecosystem. And the important thing is that we all have to play our part. I am an academic in Department of Computing here at the University of West Indies, Mona, and people will say, of course, she's going to say coding is important. And if I don't, that means there's something wrong with what I'm doing. But what makes this program powerful is that we are collaborating with Professor Jelani from UC Berkeley, who has run programs in Ethiopia called Addis Coder. Our Caribbean diaspora, Ra and Joel, who have been our great foot soldiers in organizing, putting together JamCoders, and Jamar McNaughton, aka Chronixx. Now, the important thing is, if I say coding is important, maybe nobody will listen to me. Well, a few people do because they do come into university. But if Chronixx is involved in making the youth notice the importance of coding, we can go a long way. Thank you, Chronixx, for being the caring hands of Rastafari and really leading the youth on the coding path. We're just waiting for the song to come out on that now. I also thank Minister for her remarks. I know she strongly feels the need to develop creators of technology in the country. And Mr. Henry, thank you for speaking about our landscape and the great jobs that our students can get with good coding skills. I'm quite familiar where some of these, my own graduates have gone, and it is really a great equalizer. And I love your think about the world being an oyster, because we are actually starting to produce that pearl. And I think that's JamCoders is playing their part. And we also at UV and the entire country is playing its part in making sure that we are creating many pearls in Jamaica. Prof. Weber, we are hosting this camp on your campus. So thank you for bringing your remarks and re-emphasizing the need for such activities on campus. And of course, our acting dean, Dr. James Williamson, your support is critical as we take this camp forward. The admin staff from Faculty of Science and Technology, Terry, from Department of Computing, Shauna, have been working tirelessly. And I'm sure it will bear fruit soon in a few months' time. And I hope our selected students, and Sabira and McNamara really represented them very well, and our international instructors and our teaching assistants who are from great institutions will have a fun time, not just teaching our students how to code, but also enjoy the summer. As such, interaction will not just be about learning, but also interacting with other cultures. I look forward to working with 50 inquisitive and hardworking JamCoders and other colleagues to ensure that our summer camp will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maxine. And we are now at the end of our program. So I just hope the JamCoders program worked well. We look forward to welcoming the students on campus and a successful JamCoders program. So thank you all for coming this morning.